When I first came to CareNet, I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was just stressed out. So I came in. A friend brought me to CareNet because she'd been there before. And everybody just made me feel very comfortable. And Veronica took me into the room, and she is the one that gave me my pregnancy test. And when I found out I was pregnant, she sat there while I cried. And I thought, this is the end of the way I thought things were going to be. When I went to CareNet, it's like it's like a light went on because they prayed with me and they were with me the whole time. Just everybody there were so kind and really helped me out. Helped me get through it and really brought the light back into my life.
My first experience with CareNet was the premarital group to kind of put me and my husband in a place where we needed to be with God and other godly people, and CareNet was the perfect place for that. What stood out to me personally, I think my husband as well, was the fact that they incorporated scripture into the areas that we had had trouble in, and they really made it easier to understand, and they made it really feel like somebody was there who completely understood what you were going through. I had been struggling for a while on what was missing out of my life, what I did not have, and why my relationship with the Lord just wasn't the greatest. And after being with all the young moms who had been through several things that I had been through, they had really just shown to me that I was missing the piece to the puzzle. And when I accepted Christ, I followed him in baptism.
My favorite part of Chosen would be just learning about God and I guess just being around people that love him. To have a mentor in CareNet, it means to me that there's somebody that they're going to sponsor you through the hard times and that they'll be there for you if you need them.
Something I've learned about God when I was in Chosen, I've learned that he's always there for you, and if you pray, you might not get the answer right, then you still have to keep asking for it.
I honestly believe Pearls had a huge part in who I am today. It really helped me to stay strong in my faith. The ring that I got from that, I wore until my wedding day and replaced it with my wedding ring. And it was a constant reminder of the promise I made to myself and to God and to my future husband.
My dad and I participated in the Wheeler Peak hike with Bravehearts, and whenever we went on the hike, it just gave us a chance to really get to know each other better. I mean, when you have to spend nights in a tent this close together, you tend to get to know someone pretty well, and we were able to experience the view and experience the trials together, and it gave us a lot of chances to become very close.
17 years ago, I was 1 week post-wedding and had just returned from my honeymoon to this new town that I would soon call home. The very next night, I went to my very first CareNet banquet. 17 years has passed, and CareNet has just grown and changed, and they still do an incredible job of ministering to those ladies that are in very, very difficult situations. But not only that, it ministers to grandmothers and moms and dads and babies. It ministers to young boys and it ministers to young girls, which is exactly where we are. We have 3 kids, and our oldest 2 are Caroline and Claire, and just this CareNet Bible study, through the teaching time with Candy, through the Bible study, through the worship time, through the small group time, it has been amazing to see our girls. They love to worship Jesus. They are so in the Word. They seek God, and they know that they can be a light in their schools.
My parents both had passed away by the time I was 27. I had had 2 abortions by the time I was 30. So I came into the New Dawn class not knowing what it would be about, not thinking that I needed any part of it. But I quickly realized that I needed to grow, and I needed to explore my past, and I needed to open up because I didn't love myself at all. And by the end of it, I was a totally different person, and I wasn't in the dark anymore. I really do feel worthy now, and I love myself, and I love my marriage, and I love my kids, and I love my life. And I know for a fact that that's because of my New Dawn Bible study and the mentorship that I got from that.
In 1991, I was a single mom with 2 kids, and I was 21 years old. And I got pregnant, and I panicked and had an abortion. And I buried that so deep that by the end of that year, it wasn't even part of my conscious memory. And then in March of 2013, I had taken up running, and I ran a 5K. That night when I looked through the results, I saw a name. And it was the name of the guy that I had been dating that had gone with me to get the abortion. That's when the abortion came back in my mind. There were days when I just could hardly even function. My husband didn't know. I'd been married for 17 years. He didn't know. My kids, they didn't know. Nobody knew. After 2 weeks, I sat down and told my husband. And it wasn't a big conversation. It was just, hey, I did this back then. And he said it doesn't change anything. I had a friend that was trying to put me in touch with Candy. I didn't want it to be I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. But after I watched Candy's testimony, I think I started to realize that God wasn't going to let me just stuff it back where it came from this time. So Candy called me, and I went outside at work. I remember exactly where I was standing. I don't remember hardly anything she said to me, but I remember after that she said, "You only have to be okay for 30 minutes at a time." That sort of changed the way I looked at that, because I kept thinking, I don't know how to do this, but I could do it for 30 minutes at a time. So Candy told me about the New Dawn class, and that she would have Carol call me. There was something about knowing that I was in a room with other women that their stories were different, but they were the same, and that they understood, and that there was no judgment in that room. It allowed me to open up and examine all of the parts of my life that I struggled with. And I learned that He's so faithful when we put our trust in Him. The freedom that I found through the New Dawn class was something that I couldn't ever have imagined. My name is Cheryl.
I am Jennifer Brownie.
I am Jennifer Link.
Debbie Chamberlain.
I am Alicia White.
And I'm a part of the light.
I'm part of the light.
I am Ainsley Carter, and I am part of the light.